Hey guys, it's Tony. Have you ever been to the dentist and for what you consider to be a relatively simple procedure and been quoted just an astronomical amount of money? Well, that happened to me, and I'm going to teach you about a hack that I learned about in order to be able to get really affordable dental work for a fraction of what it costs in the United States. I am on my way to Cancun, Mexico for my fourth dental trip in the last 2 years because I've learned you can save a lot of money by just getting on a 1 hour, 30-minute flight down to Cancun. So if you're ready to save a boatload on dental work, please join me over the next 24 to 48 hours while I take you on this dental adventure in Mexico. Let's get started.
After wrapping up in Houston Hobby, it was time to make my way to the gate and board my flight to Cancun. Now, I know you're thinking, you're flying all the way to Mexico for a dentist appointment? Yep, and let me tell you, it's totally worth it. Even with airfare, I'm still saving hundreds of dollars compared to what I'd pay back at home for the same dental work. Boarding was quick and easy, and before I knew it, we were in the air heading south. As we passed over the Texas coastline and caught a glimpse of Galveston Island, I couldn't help but think, this is one of the few times where flying to the beach means sitting in a dentist chair. But trust me, in Mexico, even that feels a little bit more relaxing. Soon we were making our approach into Cancun, clear skies, turquoise water, and a warm breeze waiting to welcome us. Ah, touchdown in paradise. Now that's what I'm talking about. Once you land in Cancun, the first mission is making it out of the airport without getting hustled. After you clear immigration and grab your bags, you'll enter what I like to call the pit. This is an area full of aggressive salespeople trying to book you on overpriced taxis, excursions, or timeshare presentations disguised as welcome centers. Smile, say no gracias, and just keep walking. In fact, don't stop, don't make eye contact, don't look confused. The more confused you look, the more susceptible you are to getting scammed or taken advantage of. Instead, head straight through these double doors and veer towards the red ADO bus counter. That's where the real deal is. For a fraction of the price of a cab, you can get a comfortable air-conditioned ride to downtown Cancun. Okay, let's talk about taxis in Cancun, because the situation here is a little different than what you might be used to. The taxi system at the airport is tightly controlled by local unions, and prices are set high, especially for tourists. There's very little room to negotiate, if at all, and you'll definitely feel that airport premium, also known as the gringo tax. Now, if you're thinking about calling an Uber, don't. Ubers aren't allowed to pick up at the airport, and drivers who try can face serious backlash from the taxi drivers. So when you land, that app won't help you very much. Instead, what you'll see are rows of pre-arranged car services, these guys holding signs with people's names. This is a great option if you want a more comfortable, no-hassle ride. You can book ahead online, walk out, find your name, and you're good to go. But since I'm keeping this trip low cost, you know how I am, I decided to skip the private ride and take the ADO bus, or ADO. It's just a short walk from the car service area, and for a few bucks, you can ride in an air-conditioned comfort all the way to downtown Cancun. So let's talk about the value of taking the ADO bus from the airport into Cancun. It's about a 30-minute ride to downtown Cancun and about 45 minutes to the hotel zone. Clean and comfortable, and during peak hours, buses are pulling in about every 15 minutes, so you're never waiting long. So I made it on the bus. A little bit of confusion going out the first time. I had read on Reddit, by the way, this is my first time doing the ADO bus from the Cancun airport to downtown Cancun. Usually I get a prearranged ride. I never take a cab, but I read that this is a pretty easy route and it's pretty inexpensive. The one confusion that I had was I was told that you could buy tickets at the booth at the bus. You can't. There's a booth inside of the station that allows you to be able to buy tickets. It's 140 pesos, which based on today's exchange rate is a little bit more than $7. So that $7 will get you downtown into Cancun, and then my plan is to catch an Uber from that point to my hotel, which I anticipate is going to be about $5.
So all in all, for under $15 you can get from the airport. That's significantly cheaper than even a pre-arranged ride, which would probably run you about $35 US, and a taxi could potentially run you upwards of $75, just depending on how you're able to negotiate. So in my opinion, this is probably the cheapest and the best way to get even to the hotel zone. It's not necessarily just to downtown. You can catch buses here to the hotel zone as well for 140 pesos. And then from there, you can get an Uber or a cab locally to your hotel.
After about 30 minutes, we pulled into the ADO Central Terminal in downtown Cancun. If you've ever ridden a Greyhound in the States, this will feel familiar, but much nicer. Clean, organized, and easy to navigate. The vibe here was relaxed. People were very friendly, and I didn't feel out of place at all. I just followed the crowd, and within minutes, I was out front and ready to make my next move.
All right, so I just called for my Uber. I had to walk about a block away from the ADO bus station because when you do it that way, it's less congestion and they can find you and you don't have to fight with the cabs. I was just quoted about 40 pesos, which in US dollars is about $2 or so to get to my hotel. So not so bad.
My Uber showed up a few minutes later. It was about a 10-minute ride to Hotel Bonampak. The driver was super friendly, and it was a smooth trip through the city. It's always interesting to catch that first glimpse of a place from the passenger seat. Life happening all around you as you settle into a new rhythm. And just like that, we pulled up to the hotel. Simple, clean, and right where I needed to be for this dental run. Walking into Hotel Bonampak, the first thing that hits you is the open-air lobby, and it just feels inviting. There's a laid-back vibe here. It's simple, but clean and welcoming. The open design lets the breeze roll through, and after traveling all day, it's a nice shift from the usual cold, closed-in hotel lobbies you find in the States. Check-in was easy, the staff was friendly and helpful, no fuss, no long lines, just a warm bienvenido and a room key. Now let me take you up to the room and show you what you get for under $80 US a night in downtown Cancun.
All right, so I made it to my hotel room, and I have stayed here once before. I came down here about 2.5, 3 years ago, and I brought my son with me, and we stayed in this hotel, and it's really nice. It's not that expensive. Back then, I was able to get the room for about $35 a night, but now with taxes and everything US, it's about $86, which is still significantly cheaper than what you might find out on the hotel zone. Most of those hotels start at around $200 to $300 a night for something decent and go up from there.
After settling into my room, I found a really nice Indian restaurant across the street. Dinner was nice, but I was really tired and I just wanted to get some sleep.
Good morning, guys. So I am ready to go. I'm checking out of the hotel and I'm going to go ahead and find a car to get down to the dentist's office. It's probably about a 10-minute ride. But what I'm going to do is, instead of finding a taxi, taxis are just a crapshoot. You just never know how much they're going to want to charge you. A lot of them don't speak English, so if you're not fluent in Spanish, that can be a little difficult. I like using Uber, but in Cancun, it can be a little touch and go when it comes to Uber because a lot of the hotels, the cab drivers really don't like them. And they can be a little pricey just depending on surge. So I'm going to use an app called Didi. I've never used it, I've heard about it, and when I loaded it up and put my payment information in, I noticed that the prices are about half of what Uber charges. So I should be able to hopefully get a ride for around 40 pesos, which is about $2. So let's get downstairs and let's find a Didi. Hello, my friend. How are you? Had a wonderful stay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Enjoy your lunch. Take care. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my rideshare apps. Going to pull open Didi. So Didi does a bit of everything. I mean, you can order food, you can have a rideshare, you can even have money brought to you if you don't have enough money on you. It's kind of a cool service, so I'm going to go ahead and select the ride. I already saved the GNUX Dental Cancun. That's where I'm going. So I'll select that. And let's see what it comes up with. Alright, so express drop-off is 48 pesos. They do have a way you can negotiate and save, but I'm not going to do that. I just want to make sure that I can get my ride. So they break down how much of that fee is the booking fee and everything like that. Express works for me. And I'm going to walk down. I think I'm going to turn to my left, because if you look down at the end of this road, that's where the taxis stand for the hotel. And again, they don't really like rideshare apps in Cancun. So what I'm going to do is, before ordering it, I'm going to walk down this way. This is towards the pharmacy, which is the opposite end of the building. By the way, if you ever stay here, this cafe is really good. I went here the last time I was here. And they serve little snacks and things like that, but the coffee is very good. And here's a pharmacy. Yeah, pharmacy's kind of everywhere. So, okay. So on this corner is where I'm going to kind of wait. So I'm going to go ahead and order. It says I'm at the pharmacy. Request. Maybe later for that. Okay. So now they're waiting for someone to accept it. And now we just wait. It's just like Uber. But like I said, it's about half the cost. So it's a lot warmer today. It's beautiful outside though. It's clearly, I'd say in the upper 80s. It's kind of humid, so it feels a little warmer than it is. Cancun is really nice. You just have to come to the city. Everybody always goes to the hotel zone, which is great. Yeah, there's a lot of fun things to do in the hotel zone, but I always like coming to the city because to me, you get a lot more value. Stay in a nice boutique hotel, and there's a lot of restaurant options, and there's just really cool things to do. And if you ever want to go to a resort, just get the Day Pass app. There's some 5-star resorts that you normally pay $400 to $500 a night to stay in, that you can stay for the day, and they're all inclusive, so you can eat and drink as much as you want for about $100. $100 to $125 if you want like a really nice 5-star resort. If you don't care about it being super high end, you can get them as low as like $50 to $60. So that's just something to think about if you ever want to save money in Mexico.
I'm getting into my Didi now, headed across town to GNUX Dental here in Cancun. And as we make our way through the city, I want to take a moment to talk about why this trip makes so much sense, especially for folks back home dealing with outrageous dental costs. Let's say you need a few common procedures: an exam, 3D x-rays, a deep cleaning, maybe a filling or two. In the US, even with insurance, that can cost you $750 or more. Without insurance, you're easily looking at $2,000 to $3,000. Here in Cancun, I'm getting all of that done for 4,600 pesos. That's about $235 US total. No surprise charges, no red tape, just straightforward care at a fraction of the cost. Even if you factor in your flight and hotel, this can still be a major money saver. Flights to Cancun are affordable and frequent, and solid hotels like the one I'm staying at can run under $80 a night. So you're not just getting affordable care, you're getting a quick escape to the sun and handling your health at the same time. This is what geo-arbitrage looks like in real life. By taking advantage of the lower cost of living in another country, your dollar stretches way further, especially with the exchange rate right now. The value you get here in Mexico compared to what you'd pay in the US is hard to ignore. And don't think you're trading quality for price. Dentists in Mexico go through rigorous training. Many study internationally, and unlike in the States, they don't rely on hygienists for the hands-on work. The dentist does it all, with support from a trained assistant. So whether you're underinsured, uninsured, or just tired of overpaying, dental tourism like this is a smart, realistic option. It's not just about saving money, it's about taking control of your care. We're almost there, so let's head inside and get started. So as I walk into the office, the first thing I notice is how clean and modern everything feels. GNUX might be a small clinic, but it's clearly well maintained and professionally run. The space is bright, organized, and welcoming. It doesn't have that cold clinical vibe that you get out of a lot of places back home. There's a calmness here that instantly puts me at ease. Once I'm in the chair, I can see they're using high-quality, up-to-date equipment, digital imaging, modern tools, and everything looks spotless. From check-in to setup, the whole process feels smooth and professional. It's clear that just because the price is lower, the standard of care definitely isn't. Okay, I'm all done at GNUX Dental, and now I'm headed back to the airport, and I've got to say, the experience was honestly fantastic. The office was clean and modern, the care was professional, and even though my Spanish is pretty limited, their English was good enough that I had no problem understanding everything they explained. Communication was clear, and I felt comfortable the entire time. This trip really showed me that quality dental care doesn't have to come with a massive bill. With a little planning and a little adventure, you can take care of your health and your wallet at the same time. Off to the airport.
All right, guys. Well, I'm all done. I'm at the airport, gotten through security, and ready to get on my flight. Everything looks like it's on time. So even with travel expenses, I feel like it would have probably been close to a wash after factoring in hotel and flight. But it's a nice way for me to get away for a couple of days and save some money in the process. Again, thanks a lot. I appreciate you going with me on this journey. And hopefully you'll learn a little bit about how to save money in the future when you might need just regular dental care. So again, thank you for watching. I really appreciate it if you guys would consider leaving some comments below with your thoughts. Definitely like and subscribe because it really helps me to build the channel. Right now I'm about 8,500 subscribers and my goal is to hit 10,000 by summer. So if you subscribe and follow me, you'll get some really good travel content. So again, I appreciate you. And until next time, catch you on the next one.